I'm Alison Fell. I'm a Professor of French Cultural History at the University of Leeds, and I lead a project called Legacies of War at the university, which is a team of researchers. And as part of that project, I'm being funded at the moment by the AHRC for two projects, one called Leeds Stories of the Great War and one called Discovering First World War Heritage. Leeds Stories of the Great War is a slightly unusual research project because it's not just about academics being funded to go into archives and write books, but it's about academics from the university working alongside community groups, all interested in different aspects of life in Leeds during the First World War. And as academics, we're particularly interested in stories of home life during the First World War. So we've got projects, for example, looking at a local brewery. We've got projects looking at encounters with refugees who came into the city. We've got other projects looking at hospitals and factories. Although we do have groups looking at soldier stories and war memorials, a lot of the focus is about life in Leeds during the war. Today's event was a result of us working with local authorities, museums and galleries and local history group here at Morley. There's a fantastic team of enthusiastic volunteers who've been working their way through the archives that are held in Morley, looking at Morley stories of the First World War.
This is a World War I roadshow, and it's the start of a series of events for Morley. We've just secured £9,800 from Heritage Lottery Fund to deliver a series of community events for people of all ages. Our focus group created this event to engage the local public, to bring things in that they may have found at home and come and talk to academics and experts about those objects.
But this particular model has some kind of personal interest to me. Because it was made by my great uncle. We believe he made it during the course of the First World War. He was born in Germany, but he came to this country as a youngish lad in his teens, and he married an English lady who was my mother's aunt. Unfortunately, when the war started, there was resentment against such people as him, and he was interned in the Isle of Man. And it's my understanding that he actually made this model in the Isle of Man. It's made out of all kinds of odds and ends which you could find around there. These portholes here were actually made from the lace soles in shoes.
I'm Adela O'Donoghue and I'm a volunteer for the Morley Heritage Centre. And what it is Peter Aldred has collected over the last 50 years iconic photographs, local resources, everything about local history within the surrounding area. This particular board is purely the boys who lost their lives who attended Morley Grammar School.
This because it's been in the family for as long as I can remember, and I just wondered if it was a mourning ring.
Because it's engraved and it says in memory, I would say it probably was a mourning ring. It's not typical of maybe Victorian mourning rings, but kind of the setting with the cross. Again, that can be interpreted as being part of the memory and the memorial. What do you know about the person who's being most likely memorialised?
Well, I think it is definitely him. It's
so
great uncle
Alan
Feetham. So it was my grandfather's, one of his brothers.
Okay.
And the date tallies. And this is one of the battles of the Somme. This Mametz is one of the big cemeteries where he's, where apparently he's buried. We've never been.
No.
So we're working with a very diverse range of different community groups. So some of the groups, it was really, they were already set up as groups, and we were helping them to deepen their understanding and think about the First World War perhaps in new ways. Other groups, we did call-outs in local press, on social networking sites, asking for people who are interested in particular aspects. We've really been working with a very wide range of people, and one of the aims was to facilitate things like intergenerational groups. And so, for example, we've got a group looking at the role of the university in the war, and we have alumni who often are quite elderly and are coming in working together with our undergraduate students. We're also working in very different areas of Leeds. So we're working a lot with East Leeds, which has traditionally not been an area that's done as much heritage work as other areas of Leeds. So we've been very keen to open it up as much as we can. I think what research in the arts and humanities can bring is to open up lesser known aspects of the war. So we kind of know about trench warfare, but I think there are other different kinds of experiences that are less well known, and the research team that I lead is looking at things like the development of new technologies in the war, industries during the war, women's experiences in the war, both at home and when they were involved in war work, looking at medical advances caused by the war and the experiences of medical personnel. People had enormously diverse experiences of the war. There was only a small percentage really who were fighting in the trenches, and it's the kind of those other experiences that are also, I think, really valuable and interesting to learn about. One of the things about the First World War was that it caused new relationships and new links with different nations, and I think to try and understand the war from the perspectives of the French and the Belgians and the Germans, which is kind of what the researchers in my team have expertise in, will really help to add depth, I think, to our understanding of the war and not just make it a kind of parochial commemoration.